Hi everyone, this is Carlton my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to be recapping the AFL's round 5 season. So on games we had on Thursday night, we had St Kilda taking on Richmond. Now, can the Saints impress once again and get the win, or will Richmond bounce back after 2 disappointing losses? Will West Coast win again at home, or can Collingwood surprise like they did in the elimination in elimination final last year? Can the Dogs remain undefeated, or can Gold Coast get a win on the board for that? Can Sydney continue their winning ways and be superior, or will the Giants win 2 in a row? Can Carlton pass their big test by beating a top 8 team, or will Port be too good for them? Can Brisbane get into their winning ways, or can Essendon win 2 games of the season? Can Adelaide continue on their winning ways, or will Fremantle upset them? Can Hawthorn show something and win this game? Can Hawthorn show something and win this week, or will Melbourne continue on their dominance? Will North get their first win of the season, or will Geelong finally get that win that they needed? So, while I'm recapping, guys, before I do forget, look, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If this is your first recap, as you just seen, I just went through the whole games and I'll talk about it and whatsoever. Not for that. Returning Magpies, like, comment. If you do like the videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means the world to me. So on Thursday night, St Kilda were disappointing. They were the biggest losers in this. Started off really well, and then Richmond all of a sudden just did what they have to do and put the foot down. Dustin Martin was good once again. Jack Rewalt was good. And then they kept the pressure on. And I think that's the reason why on how good on how good Richmond are, because they've won back-to-back flags, looking for a 3-peat, looking to win 3, realistically 4 out of its 5. So Richmond being that strong, dominant team. West Coast were 86 points in that game. West Coast were too good for us, 27 points. We started off the game really well. Credit to us. And then West Coast Eagles, their way of having possession of the ball and then finally getting that quick play on, it actually works for them. And I don't know why teams like Collingwood just don't see that. Okay, you have control of the ball, then you find someone in big space, you get that looping run over the top. You just don't see it too often at all from Collingwood's point of view. Game plan did work in that last quarter and first quarter. Second quarter we kept turning the ball over. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Great fight back by the boys, but credit to West Coast, like they're a good team. That they showed why that they are a top team on that. And on Saturday, like Bulldogs were absolutely dominant against Gold Coast Suns. Really showed something on what they have to do. Credit to them. It's disappointing for the Gold Coast Suns. They've fallen away. I thought they would be on the improver this season. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but I know my boys are in a little bit of trouble, 1-4. I know that we're a lot better than 1-4, and I'll explain that later, but I just felt that game by the Bulldogs, that was the best win they've seen. GWS, 9-17 or something. Bad kickings, bad football. But the Giants really played well. Mumford was there. Toby Green could have, 0-7, finally kicking his first goal after taking mark and snapping around the body. But Sydney were up by, I think it was like 4 goals, nearly 5. And they just lost it. And Josh Kelly at the end won the game. Credit to GWS, they're a good team. Sydney, unfortunately, failed that test. It does make me wonder on how good that Sydney are. Unfortunately, the young kids, as the season does go longer, you're going to struggle in big games. And you're going to struggle because it's a longer season. That's why for me you don't play too many kids for that reason. Eventually you're going to have to rest them, or otherwise they're just going to get burnt out. Now Carlton versus Port Adelaide. Now to me, I've spoken about that Carlton situation. Disappointing night for Carlton fans. Like, they weren't even working hard enough. That's how poor they were going. They were walking the book. Absolutely walking. Like, not even, they felt fatigued. They accepted fatigue. Port were too good. And Charlie Dixon, Robbie Gray kicking 3. Horacio Fantasia just working his ass off and going to a football club that actually demands success, that wants success. And you can see it now. Look, I did have my doubts on Port, whether or not they'll be up there. I think I might have them in the 8. Other than that, I think it's a real tough one. And I will go and bang on more about Carlton later. I will bang on about Carlton later on, but I just thought how good that Port were. Very good team. So Gold Coast, Brisbane Lions and Essendon. Good win by the Brisbane Lions. Certainly Essendon helped them to get back into form. Joe Danaher up against his old team. Once he was out there, he treated it like a normal game, and I didn't see much from Essendon wanting to be aggressive towards them, try and make him earn it. It was never that, and I think that's really disappointing for Essendon's point of view. You want to make it tough, you want to make it harder for them, and you just had that sense of maybe it was just going to be Joe Danaher dominate the game as whole. 25 disposals, playing different roles as well on top of that. And I think that's how success is going to be for Brisbane as well. Starting to find form now. Big test against Carlton, but as we know, it's a big game for both teams as much as possible. Fremantle absolutely surprised me. Fremantle did. Was not expecting that. Picked Adelaide on recent form. But it just shows you how good the Fremantle can be. And look, at the time, they were poor, they had kids. They only had Michael Waters, but having Nathan Fyfe and Michael Waters in the same team, and having James H in there, and having Brayshaw as well, you just know how good that these guys are. They're going to take their game to the next level. Taberner forward as well. So it should be interesting indeed. And I just feel that we're going to see the best of Fremantle. And they may not play finals this year, but they're not that far off. And I think that's a good thing for Fremantle fans. Drizzy, if you are watching this, mate, look, credit to your mob. You're the one that picked Fremantle. Probably should have in the end. but due to form, they weren't. So that's one win that can be ticked off as that was a big game, and Fremantle stepped up and delivered, unlike Carlton. Now, scrappy game too, though, because the game was like 10 or 12 points in the Hawthorn Melbourne game, but Melbourne dominated in the last quarter. Max Gawn kicked a beautiful goal, and Melbourne just piled on goals whatsoever, and Hawthorn got off to a good start. But at the end of the day, you're not going to stop what's going to happen. Now, Geelong versus North Melbourne as well. North Melbourne got off to a good start, and then Geelong fought their way back, and I think now that's a good reason why we can see on how these two teams are going to play finals. All bust for Geelong. They got the job done. Absolutely deserve what they did. Got their season a little bit back on track, but it should be interesting to see what's going to happen. I'm going to address a few things too while I'm at it, talking about it. Now, Collingwood are a better team than 1-4 at the moment. Unfortunately, had a couple losses. We're in the game in some of them. Like the Bulldogs one, we were in it. Brisbane Lions were certainly up to our necks until the kick after the siren. So realistically, we could have been 2-3 or 3-2 going into round 5. Even against the West Coast Eagles game, I thought we played pretty good in the first quarter. Did everything that we possibly could. It was a slow start, but then when we get into it, the way we played, playing Darcy Moore up forward, I think it worked. I think it's a success. Against Essendon, not too sure whether or not if we do keep him forward, I think that's going to be a huge bonus. But Mason Cox 2 goals in the VFL. I think Oliver Henry might have to come in and play. Will Hoskinelli did kick goals, so did Oliver Henry, but Oliver Henry shows some, pressure and intensity, and I think that's the way that we should go. Look, made some tough decisions on the off season. Would the media be going on about this if we're 3-2 or 2-3? Probably not. And to be honest, we are a better team than 1-4. So that's the situation that I felt that we're at. I think our game plan does work when we do get that quick ball movement in. There are times when we have to go slow, and at times when we have to really put the pressure on the opposition, make sure that they don't do anything that they shouldn't be doing, and try and get some turnovers in that forward half. Other than that, I think that we've learned a fair bit, and we have from that. We showed some fight. Look, there's no worries of, I think, losing to West Coast. I don't think it's bad at all. We tend to play well against West Coast, and let's be honest, and I will do a separate video to what I've seen on Instagram, and I'll go through that another time. But if all 3-2, it would be how good are Collingwood? Losing to West Coast, or even if we won against Brisbane Lions, I don't think they'll matter. It'll matter too much. But unfortunately, the way that we are 1-4. The way we are at the moment, 1-4, I think that we are a better team. Look, we do have depth, but it's the way it is, unfortunately. Just need to see a couple like Oliver Henry start playing. Certainly give him a crack, give him a chance to redeem himself. Because we got to do something now. 3 winnable games coming up. We got Essendon, Gold Coast Suns, and North Melbourne. 2 at the G, 2 home games, and 1's an away game at Marvel. So that's going to be interesting in itself. And Carlton, I just want to address them. Look, they don't work hard enough. They're absolutely, like, they accepted fatigue. I thought they're not a good team is what they think they are. They talk themselves up like they are, you know, we're going to play finals, we're going to do this. And realistically, and they talk positives after the game. Like, we have to, in some of the stats don't mean jack shit unless if it's on the scoreboard. And look, the commentators are right. The 27-point margin, the 28-point margin flattened them. Port took the foot off the pedal. That's why. Could the same thing said about us? Yeah, but there's no harm in losing. You know, we fought back hard. The way that we wanted to play is a lot better on how West Coast won Carlton. It's the best way to play, you know, unlike Carlton, because Carlton have this ability of just fucking want to play fast football, but then they don't want to defend. They don't want to slow the game down for a couple of minutes. All you need is about 5 or 10 minutes of actually slowing the game down, getting it back on your terms, and then when you need to attack, you just attack. I don't see that in Carlton. The biggest test they've had was literally Richmond. Big occasion, big game. All right, you want to play finals, you have to beat the best. And let's be honest, they failed that test. Now, talk themselves up. I know the supporters and the YouTubers there talk themselves up. Big game against Collingwood. Failed a big test. The scoreboard probably fronting them more than anything. Probably could have won by a lot more. And let's be honest, that could have happened as well. And then they failed against Port Adelaide, and that's a big failure. Turnovers are the problem with Carlton. I just don't see them working hard enough and long enough. Now, I don't know how they train. So I haven't watched Collingwood train in a while, but like Zach Williams, he isn't worth the money. He isn't worth the money that he's on. Same thing with Amsal. He gets sold that dream. Okay, Carlton's going to play finals. But then what else do we see? We see nothing. We don't see improvement. And that's why I think they let themselves down. I think Carlton won't play finals. Big call now. I absolutely think that. And I want to see them play finals. But all it is just talk. Their supporters, the same thing, their fans. They talk. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But there's no backing up the smack that comes out of their mouths. Big game, big test. They got Brisbane and Essendon coming up. And I think that's going to be an interesting game. Because I truly do think now that Brisbane Lions will beat Carlton. And Essendon have a chance to beat Carlton. And unfortunately, the Gold Coast Suns games, well, in Damien Barrett's eyes, he said it doesn't count. Because they beat up on Fremantle and they beat up on the Gold Coast Suns kids. Now, Fremantle at the time had kids in, yes. You know, totally do agree. But I think now this is the big worry. This is the big test. And I don't see that hard and effort for long enough. And that's just disappointing. That's just disappointing. Because I don't see that effort a lot. And as much as I want to see Carlton improve, unless they make big changes, Patrick Cripps, what's he going to do? He hasn't signed yet. All you hear from Carlton these days is, oh, you know what, we're hoping to sign him up soon, blah, blah, blah. He's going to sign. And until he's on that dotted line, there's 2 teams in Western Australia that would get him. And that will probably actually get him to be in a better system. Because at the moment, Carlton doesn't have a good system. They got a shit system that they don't want to perform. And I think it'll be times. I think Carlton don't perform well. And David Teague, he seems like the guy that he only showed that once last year. The fact is that he had a go. He had a good go at those players and absolutely ripped into him. I don't see enough of that. Maybe he's doing that behind closed doors. I have no idea. But one thing I do know for a fact, that you got to be harder on these players because you're there to win. The fans want to see premierships. Let us get jealous of Carlton that we want to hate them because of their success. I don't see that enough. I certainly think that they're a joke of a team. They just seem to play like they don't care. And I feel sorry for Prominent Eyes, Blue Board, My Blue Heaven. I think the same thing. They get sucked in. They get sucked in by this culture club of losing fucking games of football when your job is there to try hard and win. So what? What? So you can't handle the heat now? Is that what's going on behind, Is this like the players that don't want to try anymore? Is that what it's about? What, they don't want to defend 1-on-1? I think the same thing that can be said for Adam Sard. I don't think that he's worth the corner he's on. Now, with Essendon, they want him to defend, but yet he doesn't want to defend. He wants to just be the run and carry player. Now, could it be so great from Essendon? Maybe, but maybe there's something to that. Maybe that Carlton don't have the balls to tell Adam Sard, mate, you got to start defending here and start being your man, 1-on-1. Simple as that, because that's what football is about. It's all about winning. So, look, I know that's probably a bit of a rant about Carlton, but I think it's true. And I think that's what that got me when I did that video. I actually thought, I've been rewatching the Carlton YouTubers and thinking, what the hell's going on? Then you see on what Kane Corns has to say, what the commentators say. Matthew Lord's having his opinion on Carlton. Mate, Carlton used to be a team that you win premierships. That's what they were all about. The rivalry isn't there. And I don't think that David Teague builds these games up. He's just go, okay, this is just another game. This is just a game of football. It's not as a big game. It's not like if it's a big test. Put it out to these guys. Don't play guys like Mark Murphy or Eddie Betts. No more of that. Unless if they're in form, that's it. But until then, they're not worth. Maybe it's time to make some tough decisions and grow a pair of balls and do something about this. Because you want to see Carlton up and about. I don't think that we are, and I don't think that it will ever happen again. Because we're going to see Carlton fans are going to be crying and disappointed and angry. The fact is that they may not want to turn up. And for those minority of Carlton supporters to say, oh, we got 80,000 members, why don't you show up? It's called this, COVID, mate. It's called COVID screwed up everything. People keep them, let the clubs keep the money to become members, to help out. And I don't feel they're getting the same respect back from the club themselves. It comes from the management, it comes from the coaching staff, the president, the board. You want to see tough decisions being made, this is a big test. And if we don't see it, it's going to hurt long enough. So, look, I just want to get that off my chest a little bit. This is just a recap of the video. for the round 5 game. Big games this week. Look, like, comment and subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your neighbours, go the Pies. And I'll talk about Collingwood in another video. See you, everyone.